In this video, I'm going to cover different data types available in JavaScript. I will go through all these one by one. A value in JavaScript is always of a certain type. For example, a string or a number. We can put any type of data in a variable, and a variable can at one moment be of one data type, and then later we can change value of that same variable to any other data type. For example, we have a variable name message. Earlier we stored value of message as hello and then changed it to 123 without any error. String. The string data type is used to represent textual data, that is, sequence of characters. Strings are created using single or double quotes surrounding one or more characters. Here are few examples of string variable. First, A is having string with single quotes. Second variable B has string with double quotes. You can include quotes inside the string as long as they don't match the enclosing quotes. For example, variable C is string with double quotes, but it has single quote within the string. Similarly, variable D is string with single quotes, but in string it has double quote. Or another way to have single or double quote inside string is using backslash. As you can see in variable E, string is in single quotes, and inside string, single quote is added using backslash. Another example of string variable is, suppose you created one variable as s1 and you want to use value of s1 in another variable. You can call one variable in string of another variable using backticks. Backticks are generally used when you need to include variables into a string. This is done by wrapping variables with $curly brace. Here is an example. In variable s2, created string with backticks instead of quotes and added variable s1 in $curly brace symbol. In output, it will replace this variable with its value. We can access string characters using indexing. The index always start with 0. That means the first letter will always be at 0th position, then second letter at first position, and so on. For example, we have variable message and we can get the character at particular index by giving index number in bracket. Here you can see value of index 0 of message, then index 1 value, index 2 value, and so on. You can check the length of that string using message.length. It will return the number of characters in the string, or we can say total count of indexes. You can find the index of particular character using inbuilt method of string, that is indexOf. Call message.indexOf and in parenthesis of indexOf give particular character. It will return the index of that character. You can see examples here. In case we have two different indexes for single character, but it will always return the first available index in a sequence. For example, in message, we have double L. So once you try to get index of L using this method, it will return index value as 2, even though L is present at index 2 and 3. And if you want to find the character at particular index, then you can use char at method. This is similar to first way of getting character on basis of index using brackets. So you can use either brackets or can use method char at. If you try to access the character at index which is not available, then it will return output as empty string. Similarly, there are other inbuilt methods of string like substring. As shown in example, substring will return the string from 0th index to 2nd index based on whatever start and end index you have given in method. Here is another string method concat. It is used to concatenate or combine multiple strings. In concat method, you can give multiple strings and those strings will be appended in message string. For example, we concatenated test and user strings in message. The final message string is hello test user. Other inbuilt methods are like to convert string to uppercase letter or convert to lowercase letters. There are a lot more string inbuilt methods you can explore and try to use them. Next is number. The number data type is used to represent positive or negative numbers with or without decimal place. For example, variable A is having integer value and variable B is having float value. The number data type also includes some special values which are infinity, minus infinity, and NaN. Infinity represents the mathematical infinity, which is greater than any number. Infinity is the result of dividing a non-zero number by 0, as demonstrated in the example. If you divide 16 by 0, it will return infinity. And on dividing either minus 16 by 0 or 16 by minus 0, both will return minus infinity as output. While NaN represents a special, not a number value. It is a result of an invalid or an undefined mathematical operation, like taking the square root of -1 or dividing 0 by 0 or giving string in any calculation, etc. Here are few examples where calculation is returning NaN. Dividing any string with any number or try to get square root of any invalid number. Next is Boolean. The Boolean data type can hold only two values, either true or false. It is typically used to store values like yes or no, on or off, etc. Here are few examples. We have variable is reading and its value is true. That means it shows that yes, I'm reading. Another example is sleeping as false. That means not sleeping. Boolean values also come as a result of comparisons in a program. The following example compares two variables and shows the result in an alert dialog box. There are three variables A, B, and C. A has value 2, B as 5, and C as 10. On comparing, is B greater than A? It will return true because yes, 5 is greater than 2. Another comparison is B greater than C? It will return false. Similarly, B greater than A and less than C? It will return true. This is how Booleans are used. Next, we have undefined. The undefined data type can only have one value, the special value as undefined. If a variable has been declared but has not been assigned any value, by default, the value will be undefined. For example, variable A is declared but not assigned any value, so its output is undefined. On the other hand, variable B is assigned string value, so it returns string. Next is null. This is another special data type that can have only one value, that is null. A null value means that there is no value. It is not equivalent to an empty string or zero. It is simply nothing. A variable can be explicitly emptied of its current contents by assigning it the null value. If you see example of variable b, either b was assigned as string value, then later changed its value to null because you don't want to have any value for that variable at this moment. So what is the difference between null and undefined? Null is a value which you can use when you want to assign an empty value to a variable. Undefined is a value which automatically gets assigned to a variable when you yourself have not assigned anything to a variable. So if you want to have intentionally any variable as empty, then assign null value to that variable. That variable data type will be considered as object. If the variable has undefined value, the data type of that variable will also be undefined. Next, we have JsonObject. The full form of JSON is JavaScript Object Notation. The JSON object is a complex data type that allows you to store collections of data. It contains properties defined as a key value pair. A property key or name is always a string, but the value can be any data type like string, number, Boolean, or complex data types like array, function, and other objects. The following example will show you the simplest way to create a JSON object in JavaScript. We can create empty object using curly brace, as you can see variable empty object. Another example is person JSON object having keys as first name, last name, and age. For better reading, you can write JSON object in proper format. For example, we have car JSON object. We have keys in quotes. For example, first name, last name, age are in quotes. But you can omit or remove the quotes around name if the name is a valid JavaScript name. That means quotes are required around keys like having space or hyphen or any symbol in that name. But quotes are optional for single names. So the car object in the above example can also be written as where model, color, doors are not in quotes. But in another example, student JSON object, we have keys as username with space and email address with space. So we have to keep these keys in quotes. We can access the values of these keys using either dot notation or brackets. If the key has single name, then you can use dot. For example, car.model, car.doors, but you can't use dot notation for student.username or student.email address because both have space. So for that, we can use bracket notation as you can see in example. Array. An array is a type of object used for storing multiple values in single variable. Each value, also called as an element in an array, has a numeric position known as its index, and it may contain data of any data type, number, string, booleans, functions, objects, and even other arrays. The array index starts from 0 so that the first array element is array 0, not array 1. The simplest way to create an array is by specifying the array elements as a comma separated list enclosed by square brackets as shown in the example. We have two arrays, colors and cities. You can access the values of the array using index. Colors 0 returns red and cities 2 returns New York. In other languages, For example, in Java, you can have values of same data types in an array. For example, either only strings or only numbers. But in JavaScript, you can have mix of all data types in single array. Here is an example test. Test array has string, number, boolean, and null values. You can replace the values of the array using particular index. The test array is showing value as 0 instead of 1.3 after replace. You can check the length of array index using test.length. It will return you the total number of values in that array. Type of operator. It can be used to find out what type of data a variable or operand contains. It can be used with or without parentheses. Here you can see a lot of examples where it is returning the data type of the value. You can check data type of any variable using typeof keyword. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and share my channel.